Five pieces of news from the elementary wing. Fourth graders are headed to Messina Power Authority on Wednesday. Day of romance. To complement their study of energy in their science class. So that's what Denise Kozer and Fred Foster. Students in 5th through 8th grades qualified for the Homework Excellence field trip are headed to Titus Mountain on Friday for tubing and lunch on the mountain. And that will probably be approximately 80 students. Yeah, yeah, that's a pretty powerful incentive. Yeah, it's going to be fun. Coming in March is Youth Art Month. Mississippi has kicked into gear. Youth Art Month coming up next month. So we will, in part, begin by using our elementary Monday staff meeting to get to know the artists that our students have been studying and actually do some hands-on artwork. And that will sort of spill over into teachers selecting an artist that they'll introduce students to through a read aloud, and then try and compel those students to either dress like the artist or dress in clothing inspired by the artist. But we're going to push hard as well for our staff to dress in clothes inspired by the artist. So don't you worry, your elementary principal already has her dress in order. But I also think it'll be really nice. It'll be a nice way for the staff to interact with each other in a much different way than we have all year, quite honestly. And just sort of on that note, I wanted to just acknowledge that art and the art curriculum, particularly here, is taking on more and more of an important role for students with our Common Core state standards. And in Gen MB, you have an extremely energetic person who is already reaching out to staff. She did a dinosaur project and worked through the concept of texture and how to properly handle clay, but it was really to reinforce a study in first grade. And she has really quite excitedly taken on the K through 2 listening and learning modules for next year, so that students are they're going to start to have that really, rich interdisciplinary experience in elementary school that we all kind of hope for and wish for and try to plan for. So some hats off to the energies going on in our art week, for sure. I also want to let you know that the grandparent breakfast has been scheduled for Tuesday, March 5th and Thursday, March 7th. Kindergarten through 1st will be on Tuesday, and 2nd through 6th on Thursday. And that's also the week that the conferences are scheduled and the book fair, of course. And also just to give you a heads up that Ms. Brewer and Mrs. Porter have announced the 2nd annual Cougar High Peaks Challenge, and that kickoff comes right after the math assessments, and will be a welcome one on Friday, April 26th. And then I wanted to introduce this, it is the elementary school and all, you guys like that poem. I'd like to introduce you to a mouse who participated in the K through 4 award ceremony. There were about 15 puppets who showed up that day. And while I think every adult in the crowd thought I had lost my mind, all the children loved, they just loved them. They introduced each class. Sometimes they introduced an award. This is a poor little lost mouse who thinks that he lives in a missile silo in Russia, but he really lives in a corn silo in Russell. So anyway, he was one, and there were a lot of others. The kids loved the animals, and they've gone and visited them occasionally in classrooms and said hello. And they all have voices and personalities. So that just in case. And that is it from the elementary wing. Thank you.
I have a Muppet sequence started at the same time.
No, but I was a big Muppet fan, so.
There's something to be said.
Mom and Dad wanted to stay up until 7:30 on Monday, so.
Sure. One other thing, last week in high school in 7 through 12, we had quite a number of assemblies, some of which were coordinated with the middle school. We had a 5 through 8 awards assembly. We were lacking some puppets in that area, I can tell you. We also had a presentation by Sheriff's Department on cyberbullying. We had the amazing Nano Brothers, which, by the way, one of the best assemblies I've seen. It was fabulous.
They are very.
It was great. It was, of course, science background to it. Well worth the investment. That was just outstanding. And I also happened to participate. I just wanted to share this. I participated on Monday vetting questions last week with BOCES, which was obviously my first-hand experience doing that. And I walked away from that with an eye-opening, kind of experience that there's really a lot more involved in that process than you see from the outside. So just wanted to share that. And of course, this week in high school, Challenge Day. So we're right in the midst of being prepared for that tomorrow. I've had a number of people that have gone out of their way to help me get ready for that, and I really appreciate that. So tomorrow we have the 9th and 10th graders, and then on Wednesday, the 7th and 8th graders. We also had homecoming week last week. We missed the pep rally. We're trying to rearrange the finale. Of course, that's taking some coordination to see when that's actually going to happen. The girls have their first playoff game tomorrow night. The boys play Saturdays, and of course, on Challenge Day tomorrow. That eliminates offering the prep rally tomorrow at the end of the day. So, not sure where that's going to end up at this stage, but hopefully sometime this week.
Well, we're talking about basketball. I'm sure y'all heard that the varsity boys team just won the division. Our player was named MVP of the league. Got an all-star team.
MVP this season.
MVP this season. 2 on the all-star team and coach of the year. So I think it would be nice. I'd like to suggest that the Board of Education submits a letter to the team congratulating them on their accomplishments.
Yeah.
Is that it for you? It is.
A couple things I'm going to hang around. We did have our security audit, safety audit for town. As soon as you left, sat here for 40 minutes, the troopers showed up. Oops, sorry. On here, I have 10 things that we kind of discussed of things he saw as John and I walked around the building. He was here from 9:05 till 11:40. So we made quite a tour around the building. And actually, all in all, 10 things really are not that many things. And some are fairly simple, and some are things we're going to have to look into because they obviously will incur further expense. First one, as we know, we've talked about the gym doors where the kids like to be on the outside and yank them open. And one of the things he said, well, if you don't need handles on all the doors, why not take some of the handles off? Which obviously no one thought of previously, but we do need to leave some of the handles on to be able to get in, to classes and everything. So we are going to look at that. The egress sheets that we have in all the classrooms for fire safety, they suggested we redo those completely because what we have is the building plan, the layout, and he said you should only have the floor, first floor on theirs, second floor on theirs, so we're going to have to redo all of our egress sheets. And he said make them clear. I think Kay had redone a sheet for the technology department that we're probably going to either lean from steel or completely use.
That's an emergency, Steve.
Emergency, yes. Yep. So we will look at redoing those. One of the ideas they had, I don't know how many of you know, the loading dock out back. We've been fighting with all year, do we keep it locked, what do we do? Because it doesn't have a list that we can win. There's deliveries on and off throughout the day. So what they recommended, which was a very good idea, is if we're going to put a camera system in the vestibule area for people coming and going, put the same camera system on the loading dock. So that who's ever buzzing a person in can see them, talk to them. And he said it would not be that much more to do with a second buzzing system. So that is something that we will talk about when we meet with Kenny again. What several schools have gone to is their badges are also their swipes. So if somebody loses their badge, they lose their swipe, and then you know it's going to deactivate immediately. And they're really pushing that we should consider swiping all of our doors. It's a major expense that we haven't looked at, but we can check the prices and see. And then it alleviates keys when you have one thing instead of people that don't have their keys, don't have to swipe, you know, everything together. And he said that's something he would recommend that the district look at. Some of the schools have gone to that. In the vestibule area, like he really says there should be, and some of the schools have this, you walk in, the door, you can lock the door behind the person, you can talk to them through the camera, there's a window that you can see them as well. If they're just coming to sign their child out, we hand them the thing, let them sign out, bring their kid down to them. If there's any suspicions or anything, obviously they're kept in that area until the police can be brought. So that was kind of more what he recommended that we go with. And he did recommend that Potsdam currently has that system. So we could go and look at it or just videotape it and show everybody. He felt that there should be more places that have cameras to be able to be monitored by staff. Currently, the only monitoring system is in the elementary office. So because everything will be going computer-based when we get our new system, he said there should just be a couple more monitors in each office so people can just look up, see, and monitor safety throughout the building. That's certainly easy and attainable. One of the things he talked about, and it is in our policy book already, is to make sure all the blinds are closed during the intruder drills. So on the lower level, and that is something that we have in our system already. He asked that we re-look at the playground procedures, which I didn't put on there because that's part of the plan that we don't obviously want everyone to know. So a group here in the building will have to look at that. We have, by the request of staff, put radios for them to be able to take when they go outside to the playground. Unfortunately, they're not taking them all of the time. So if they're outside, they would not necessarily know if something's going on. We do have someone who, if we have an intruder drill, emergency drill, that's their checkpoint to run out to, but it would be better if they're taking the radio. And the officer just said to us, the union should get involved for safety. He said really push that. The last recommendation, he had no idea of what we have in place, but if there's contractors in the building, they should be signing in and have a badge. And Kay had done that 2 years ago, was it 3 years? And he took pictures of all of the construction people here, gave them a badge, and then we knew who was in the building. He also, reiterated that any staff member who doesn't have a badge on runs the risk of, if they come into the building to swarm the building, they'll take them down. He said, you don't have a badge, or your picture doesn't match your badge, they will take you face down. So he said that would probably be a good thing to tell the staff, they would probably be sure to wear them. And, if you do look around, everybody does tend to forget sometimes, but that's something that we're trying to improve. So overall, he felt that our building was, in good shape. He was pleased with what we were doing for the building project, and some of the suggestions he made are quite simple. So,
Good stuff.
yeah.
So the badges, the swipe, you said was pretty expensive. Is that something we could add to our building project, or is it too late to do that?
We can. Nothing in there is definite yet. I mean, we can change things around here to take on tag.
Actually, the swipes aren't that bad. Cable, if you don't have a dedicated network, maybe the network capabilities and.
But to make every door accessible by the swipe is what's the expensive part of it.
Readers are a one-time expense, but your cards will run for staff. To type the card, you're going to be probably $20, $25 a card.
Okay, and we actually have already looked at a system that does that, that ties in with our payment program.
The cards will wear out fairly, a year or so, max damage card.
This is the pamphlet created thus far. Tom, Becky, myself, and John. Tom, is there anybody else?
Me.
I'm sorry, Lynn. We're on the committee. We got together. This is the draft of what we sent back to them, and there are still some typographical and grammatical errors we'd like to have fixed. And we also know that it doesn't have the time for our 2 hearings. So we've gone through, again, we just got this back today, but just to show you kind of what the committee came up with, what we put together. If you want to look at it, we can discuss it. Since our first hearing is March 4th. I'd kind of like to get these in the mail very soon.
Who said it was on the what night?
I want to say Wednesday.
It's not too close to the spring break.
It's actually, I think the 29th is the first day of the break,
March 29th.
that Friday. What we did is we tied it in with the Kaleidoscope concert.
Oh, okay.
That's why it's that day.
Okay.
One of the things, Kay might be able to speak more to this, just to let you know, the legal notice did go in the paper. Unfortunately, there was a typo of year, and it was not on our part. It actually unfortunately came from the legal counsel that way. So Kay did call in today, asked them to correct it, and the next, how many times is in paper 3?
3 more, it has to run 4 total, today being the first day. And then it was March 27th, 2012 in the first paragraph, and then the paragraphs down was March 27th, 2013 corrected. I contacted the paper as soon as I found out this morning, corrected it, asked them to run it again tomorrow, asked them to run the corrected copy of the other 3 dates that I've given them before the vote. Then I contacted the legal people who sent us the notice, said I didn't catch your typo. Is this going to change our March 27th date? Told them what I had done to the newspaper, they said no.
Any comments on the brochure?
Yeah.
You want us to just look at it and see if that's what you have any?
In the next day or 2, because I'd like to get them back from them. We have to print them and get them out sometime during break. I mean, it's like time-wise, if you get
So these haven't been all printed yet?
No, this is all we printed.
I'm wondering, this section down here where.
Yeah, that's gonna be fixed.
I make that a little more clear so people can see that.
Do you know that when you open that document on the computer, you can't see that at all? It's not there, it's only when you print it. And when I spoke to Brian phone today, I'm like, is this some kind of subliminal, what are you doing here? Why is it white like it is at the top? And he said, it's not on that document, I don't know what you're talking about. And I said, no, you can't see it on the computer, but print it. And when he called back, he was like, I don't know what that is. And I expected it to be across the entire bottom of there, but put it there, not like the second, third column.
Yeah, I know,
Quite odd.
put that all over the place.
Yes.
In gold.
Maybe we can make that.
So if anybody sees anything, let us know. But our committee did a great job. We took about an hour and a half, 2 hours maybe.
Well,
And we got a lot done quickly, so. I don't know, if you skipped over the budget, if we want to do that first.